So there are a couple different ways we could approach making this smoked chicken stock. One being using the bones from this whole chicken I just smoked on my small offset smoker last night. That will result in a much more mellow, smoky flavor, right? I'm gonna end up making a chicken soup with these, and having a more mellow, smoky flavor with that soup is gonna be ideal. So the second way you can make a smoked chicken stock is removing the bones from the raw chicken itself and then placing them on the smoker. You get more of a smoky forward flavor in whatever it is that you're cooking. So if you're cooking something that you want a forward dominant smoky flavor, that's the method you want to use. But I'm going for more of a mellow one today. So using these whole smoked chickens, using the bones, and then making the stock with those bones, yeah? So talking mirepoix real quick. Traditionally speaking, you have 2 parts onion, 1 part celery, 1 part carrot. Then you could also go with what's called a white mirepoix, where you would eliminate the carrots and then substitute the carrots with parsnip and leeks. White mirepoix is more for when you want to have more of a neutral color chicken flavored stock. So I'm going for a darker color stock today, so that's why I'm going to be using the traditional mirepoix, using the smoked chicken. It's going to give us a darker stock, yeah? Rich. Your stock is going to be only as clean as the ingredients that you put into it. I don't like putting in stem ends and that kind of stuff because it could give the stock kind of a dirty flavor. No good. Give the carrots a rough chop. So all of these are going to get tossed right in there. You can do a sachet if you wanted to. Further on down the road today, I'm going to put together a really tasty chicken soup too. I'm going to put in maybe some butternut squash, maybe this pumpkin that I grew in my garden that still seems to be hanging around. That smoked chicken stock, dude, it's going to be such an amazing soup. Clean all the dirt off of everything too, obviously. Rinse under cold running water or use a clean kitchen rag, especially celery. Celery usually has a lot of dirt in it. This smoked chicken makes my house smell just freaking amazing, dude. Cut that butcher twine off. Find that joint, that socket, and then just cut that oyster right through. I don't want to have the salty skin in the stock either, because that'll make the stock too salty. When you're talking on the realm of stocks and broths, the main difference between stocks and broth is stocks use mainly bones and broths use mostly meat to flavor. I'm going to remove the bones from the legs and the wings, and then I'm going to use them in the stock, and then all the meat I'm going to put in the soup later on, yeah? Favorite part of the chicken right here, right underneath that breast, right against that rib. Oh, so good. So all the bones I'm going to put in this glass dish. Removing the skin and the fat too. That's going to help eliminate having too much fat in the stock, which is going to get, it can emulsify into the stock and make it cloudy. And just remove the skin from the wings and call her good on that. Tall stock pot. Go in with the veg first, the mirepoix, herbs, garlic, and go into bones. Smelling good. It's gonna make a beautiful stock. Like over medium-low heat, you wanna slowly bring this up to a simmer. If you boil it, you're gonna emulsify the fat, cloud the stock. Now from here, once it comes up to a simmer, then you wanna keep that on a really low heat. Let it just come just below to the point of it simmering. Let that go for about 3 hours. When this does come up just to the point of it simmering, the offset it off the burner like that, and it's gonna make all that fat, all those impurities move to one side of the surface. I love having potatoes in chicken soup too. I'm not a huge fan of putting pasta. Like my grandma used to put pasta, like egg noodles, in chicken soup. I don't really care for that. Pearl couscous is really good. I kind of tend to not like putting any kind of pastas in my chicken soups, but you can if you want to. Kind of substitute potatoes for kind of pasta. This really isn't a set recipe for my soup. I just kind of chuck whatever ingredients I have in the refrigerator at the time, and if it sounds good in a soup, then I'll put it in there. I'll put a recipe in the description for you so you can check it out if you want to make one. Potatoes actually want to submerge under water so that they don't oxidize while I prep the rest of the ingredients and while that chicken stock cooks, right? If you've never had these yellow little mini gold potatoes, they're delicious. Buttery smooth texture on them. I want to get the clearest possible stock, so I'm using a ladle to scoop the stock out of the stock pot into a bowl. If you're not planning on using the stock immediately, you could store the stock into mason jars or any kind of clean glass containers that you have. Now, if you want to concentrate the flavor even more, you can put the stock back on the burner and let it simmer for about an hour to reduce the stock slightly. For what I'm using the stock for today, which is making soup, I find that the flavor is spot on. It has a very nice developed flavor and the smokiness is right there. One cool trick that you could do is ladle the stock into ice cube trays and then freeze it. Once frozen, you could place the stock cubes into a zip top bag. Store in the freezer and ready for use. When you want to, add a little bit more flavor to a sauce, just drop in one of those cubes. This is going to add a ton of flavor to your sauce. So starting the chicken soup, I sweat down some shallot over medium-low heat, salt it, and cook them until translucent. Once translucent, add in some chopped garlic and cook the garlic until the rawness is cooked off, about a minute. Next I'm going to add in the chopped smoked chicken. Stir the chicken around to get it coated with the shallot and the garlic. Next I drop in my butternut squash and then the potatoes. Add the chicken stock. Bring this up to a gentle simmer and let it simmer for about 45 minutes to soften up all the veg. This is a previous batch of stock that I reduced. You can notice how it gelled up rather nicely. Now you want to give the soup a taste, adjust the seasoning as necessary, add more salt, add more pepper if it needs. So good, man. Soup is awesome.